Hello ladies, it's Mr. O'Sullivan. Today we're going to be looking at how to graph the equation of a line again. Remember, you did learn how to graph an equation of a line in middle school, at least you should have. And it all goes back to y equals mx plus b. So today's learning target is I can graph a linear function by using slope and y-intercept. So as long as you know a linear function's slope and y-intercept, you can actually graph the equation of its line. You can also graph it by just knowing 2 points, and so forth. So the first thing I want you to remember is, in order to graph a linear function, your equation must be in slope-intercept form. To remember what slope-intercept form is, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Perfect. You then need to identify your slope and your y-intercept, and then you just go ahead and graph it. Perfect. So, my first example I want to graph is y equals 4/5 x plus 2. If I look, it's already in slope-intercept form. It's already in that y equals mx plus b form. So the only thing I have to do is identify my slope and my y-intercept. My slope is the number attached to my x. In this case, the number attached to my x is a 4/5. So my slope is 4/5, which means my rise is 4, and my run is 5. The number hanging out by itself is a good old plus 2, so my y-intercept is 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my y-axis and then graph my y-intercept. I'm going to plot a point right there. I'm now going to rise up 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a point right here. Let me erase those little dots. And now I have my 2 points plotted. Let's see if I can plot another. So now instead of going up 4, I'm going to go down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And instead of going to the right 5, I'm going to go to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, I have a point right here. Let me erase those little stragglers. And look, I have now 3 points that I can connect by using a line. I'm going to connect my points with a straight line. And then afterwards, I'm going to draw my arrows on them. 1 second. We put our arrows on. And then we write the equation of the line next to it. So we're going to write y equals 4/5 x plus 2. And then you're done. That's how you graph the equation of a line. You only need to do the table of values if you want to put points on there. It's not required. Once we learn how to graph quadratics, it will be mandatory. Now let's go on to our next example where I have y equals negative 3/4 x minus 2. Remember, we need to find our slope and our y-intercept. Our slope for this equation would be the number attached to my x value, which is a 3/4. But remember, it's a negative 3/4. So I'm going to be rising down 3 and running 4. And then the number hanging out by itself is my y-intercept. So if you look, negative 2 is my y-intercept. So remember, the first thing we plot is our y-intercept. So this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. So I'm going to plot the point 0, negative 2. And now I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 4. So I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 4. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can't plot any more points, so now I'm going to go up 3 and to the left 4. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And boom, I have 3 points. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to connect them with my ruler. And after we connect our points with a ruler, what we're going to do is we're going to put our arrowheads on it, just like this. And then we're going to write the equation of the line on top of it or next to it. So in this case, I have y equals negative 3/4 x minus 2. And that's the equation of your line. Let's go on to some more challenging problems. So if we look at these examples, they are not in slope-intercept form. They are in standard form. So you could graph them by using standard form, but it's actually a little longer of a process and requires a little more algebra. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these equations into slope-intercept form by solving for y. So in our first example, we have 3x plus 4y equals negative 12. So I'm going to rewrite that equation to the side of my paper. And the goal is to get your y by itself. So I actually want to get 4y by itself. So I have to ask myself, how do I get rid of a positive 3x? Well, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of my equation. Subtract 3x, subtract 3x. And I'm left with 4y equals, and remember, we always put our x first because it's mx plus b. Negative 3x minus 12. Now I want to get my y by itself. So how do I get rid of that multiplier of a 4? Well, I'm going to divide every single term in my equation by 4. Everything gets divided by 4. So my 4's are going to cancel. And I'm left with y equals negative 3/4x. Again, if you watched yesterday's video, you will remember that I specifically said we don't write decimals. We leave everything as a fraction. It's very hard to graph decimals. So I get negative 3/4x, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I have a minus 3. So this is the equation that I'm graphing. So now I have to ask myself, what's my slope? Well, my slope is the number attached to my x, so my slope is negative 3/4. So I'm rising negative 3, and I'm running 4. And my y-intercept is negative 3 because there's a negative attached to my 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my y-intercept of 0, negative 3. And now my slope is negative. So I'm going to go down 3, then to the right 4. So down 3, so 1, 2, 3. And now go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's where I plot my point. So now I have a point there. I can't go any further, so I'm going to go up 3 and to the left 4. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to plot a point. I'm going to do my erasing of my stragglers. And now I'm going to connect them with a nice line. And don't forget to make sure you put arrows on your line. And then after drawing those arrows, you're going to put the equation of the line next to it. You can do this equation, or you can do the original equation. I like to do the original equation. So we're going to write 3x plus 4y equals negative 12. And that's the equation of your line that you just drew. All right, now let's go to this equation. So I can see that it's already in standard form. So when I do this equation, I have to go to the side of my paper, rewrite it. So 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. And I have to solve for y. So I'm going to circle or square my 5y and say to myself, well, how do I get rid of that 2x? Well, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Subtract 2x, subtract 2x. And I get 5y equals negative 2x minus 10. our last step is we need to get this y by ourselves. So how do I get rid of that 5 attached to it? Well, I'm going to divide every single term in my equation by a 5. My 5's cancel, so I get y equals, well, negative 2 divided by 5 is just negative 2 over 5. And then I put my x, and then negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. So this is the equation that I want to graph. Well, my slope is the number attached to my x, so my slope is negative 2 over 5. So I have another negative slope example. So negative 2 is my rise, 5 is my run, and my y-intercept is the number hanging out by itself. So the number hanging out by itself is a 2, but we need to make sure we are remembering the fact that we need to say it's a negative 2 because the sign attached to it is a minus. So my y-intercept is negative 2. So I'm going to go to my graph and plot my y-intercept of negative 2. And now what I want to do is I want to go down 2 and to the right 5 because that's my slope. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my point that I want to plot. Now I have some more that I can do. I can't go down 2 and to the right 5, so I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's your point. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw those lines with a nice arrow. And we'll connect the points first, sorry. Yeah, connect your points with a ruler or a straight edge. So I have my ruler in. I'm going to connect those points with my green line. And now I'm going to put my arrow on it. And then I'm going to write the equation. Remember, I can write this equation, the y equals negative 2/5 x minus 2. Or I can write my 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. I'm going to write that. And that's it for today. Make sure you do your Delta Math practice where you do more practice with graphing linear functions. If you have any questions, email myself, Miss Townsend, or Miss Jimenez. Have a great day, ladies.